Hey everybody, it's Christopher Small, the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Today, I want to talk to you about the generation skipping transfer tax. Before we get into that though, I want to remind you, if you have questions about this or anything else related to estate planning or probate, you can talk to us over the phone for free by going to cmslawfirm.com. Okay, generation skipping transfer tax. I don't know if you've heard of this before. Some people just refer to it as GST. If you are in the world of estate planning or you're curious about taxes, you may have heard of it. And it is a mysterious little beast, but not really. We're going to break it down here today, and you're going to learn and know exactly what it is, and if you need to worry about it, and how to avoid it. All right. So here we go. The generation skipping transfer tax, as the name implies, is a tax that the IRS has created to take into account or to prevent huge gifts from grandparents to grandchildren, okay, to try to avoid a taxable event at the death of the child. That makes sense. Grandparent has a tremendous amount of money. Instead of giving it all to child, which then it would potentially be taxed when the child dies, you give it to the grandchild and let it grow for essentially two generations instead of one before anything would have to happen. That is the generation skipping transfer tax in a nutshell. Right now, that transfer tax is 40%. There is another way and time that this could potentially be paid as well. If you are the top level person, the grandparent, and you create a trust where your child is the beneficiary and then their children are the beneficiaries after that, then you could potentially have a taxable event at the death of the child. Okay, so you say, hey, I have $1 million, I'm putting it in this trust for my kid. When my kid dies, everything's gonna go to my grandkids. When the kid dies, boom, taxable event, potentially. Okay, now, there's something important to remember. The government doesn't just want to take all of your money. They only want to take rich people's money when it comes to the estate tax. So they have created an exemption amount. There is a generation skipping tax exemption. It is exactly the same amount as the current estate tax exemption itself. Okay, that amount today, I believe, is $12.98 million. So if your net worth is under 12.98, you really don't have to worry about this too much. Keep in mind, however, that 12.98 number can go down significantly and probably will go down significantly over time. $5 million is about the floor right now, so just keep that in mind. If you are transferring less than the GST exemption amount to your trust, then no taxable event will occur, even if those assets go over and above the exemption amount after they are transferred. For example, let's say you have $5 million when you die. It goes into a trust for your kids. The kids, they don't need it, so they just leave it and it grows. That $5 million becomes $50 million over the course of 30 years, okay? I'm just making this up. When the kid dies, now the grandkids are the beneficiaries of that trust. Although the balance of the trust, the assets in the trust, are over $12.98 million, there is no tax owed because the amount originally transferred was under the exemption amount. So the appreciation after the death of the grantor, of the grandparent, doesn't count. So that's pretty sweet. One lesson for this, or one thing to consider, is if you have assets that you think are going to appreciate significantly over time, it may be a good idea to carve those out, put them in a trust right now, take your GST and estate tax exemption. They go together. You don't get to stack them, by the way. They go together. So if you give a gift of $1 million, it reduces your estate tax exemption by $1 million, and it reduces your GST exemption by $1 million as well. But if you stick that highly appreciable asset into an irrevocable trust right now, and it can grow and grow and grow and grow. When it gets transferred, there will be no tax owed at that time. Okay, so that is the generation skipping tax primer summary, right? Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, great. Leave me a comment, like this. I don't know, subscribe if you're here and you want to get more cool videos or podcasts or whatever, wherever you're listening to this. And a reminder, if you have questions about this or anything else related to estate planning or probate and you want to talk with us over the phone for free, you can do so by going to cmslawfirm.com. As always, I am Christopher Small. I'm the owner of CMS Law Firm. We do estate planning, we do probate, we do it well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you again soon. See ya.